Hey guys, so today I will be doing an unboxing and a review of the WEN 6560T jointer. This is their 6-inch variation of their benchtop jointer. I'm going to get to opening this up and we'll see what's in the box. Alright, so the first thing to note is this model, the 6560T, the one that is cast iron. I think the base is cast iron and I think the bed is cast aluminum. One thing to note is that this is substantially heavier than their other model. I think their other model that has a plastic base with the aluminum bed is like 30 pounds or something, give or take 5 pounds there. This one is more like 85 to 90 pounds. So this is definitely it's heavy getting it up on the bench. So let's get right into it. So first thing is, of course, your manual, which I would definitely read that. Disclaimer, this is actually my first jointer that I've ever owned. I've used my father's jointer before, so I have some experience with it and kind of how to use one, but this is the first one I've ever owned. So take what I say with a grain of salt, but I'll give you all of the details and facts that I see at least. So one of the first things in the top is this bag. So it comes with this bag, and this is supposed to go on the dust port of the jointer, and this collects dust and sawdust and wood chips and all that good stuff. I have a shop vac that I'm planning on connecting to this, so I probably will not use this bag, but it's there for you if you decide you want to go that route. Next in the top of the box is this push stick. I've never used a push stick with a jointer before, but it seems like a pretty decent push stick. I mean, I'll keep it around, and if I don't use it with a jointer, I'll use it with something. So push stick. Alright, keeping on the same track as the push stick, we have got a push block. We've got this standard looking push block. It's got an angled handle on it and kind of a foam pad here. I'm not really sure how high quality it is, but it's push block. So I'll probably end up using this along with one of my other push blocks, maybe my gripper or something when I test this out. Up next we have a bag of parts. It looks like it's got an Allen wrench. It's got a couple of Allen wrenches actually, I guess, for the different size washers, and this looks like the hardware that goes on the back of the fence to mount the fence to the table here. So I got the table, the jointer. So we'll get into that in a minute. The spring. So the spring is, you feed this through the bag, and the spring actually goes into this nozzle here at the end of the bag and connects to your dust port, and this helps keep the bag connected to your dust port when your jointer's on and you're extracting the dust. So this goes along with the bag. Once again, I probably will not use this. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's kind of heavy. So this looks like the fence. Here, get a good view of that. So this definitely has some weight to it. It looks like a pretty smooth surface. There's definitely some oil mixed all inside of this bag. So before I actually use this, and when I take this out of the bag, actually I'm going to wipe this down and just get all this oil off of it so I can work with it. And then I'll go over it with some paste wax before I actually use it. So here's the fence. We've got this little dust port elbow. I think this is supposed to connect to the dust port of the jointer, and then this elbow, you can kind of point it to whatever direction you need to for your hose to connect or your bag. So this just gives you a little bit more convenience and access to that dust port. Hope that was important. Well, right out of the box, and I've already dropped something. I don't think I damaged it, at least. It's pretty heavy duty. All of this stuff has got some good weight to it. This attaches the fence to the jointer. Well, I think I beat around the bush as long as I can. The only other thing to lift out of this box now is the actual bed of the jointer. So, yeah. Oh yeah. Whew. All right, yeah, so that is as heavy as I thought it was going to be. If you have like a bad back or something wrong with your shoulders or something like that, get someone to help you lift this. It is quite heavy. This thing literally is like 90 pounds and it's kind of awkward, especially in the box. It's awkward to hold, so make sure you have someone help you lift this if you need it. Just be careful. So let's go ahead and tear the plastic off some of this stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna wipe this down, get some of the oil off of it, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. So I've got everything laid out here. I've taken a little cloth here and wiped off most of the excess oil, just so that way it doesn't get all over everything. So the next step is to attach the fence support onto the back so we can start getting the fence on. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so one of the first things it tells me to do is to bolt this on, and I'm looking all over for some screws and washers, and I can't find them anywhere. They're already attached right here. So if you get this, just know when it comes time to bolt the fence assembly on, support assembly on, the bolts are already in here. So I'm guessing I just need to take one of these. I'm not sure which size. Looks like it may be right. Nope, too small. This big honking thing, I need to take this and screw them up. By the way, these holes on the end here, extremely convenient for running this huge Allen wrench through. So they thought ahead. All right, that's not going anywhere. Position the plate so that the upper edge of the curved surface of the pins. The curved surface of the pins. There's a curved surface and there's pins. I don't see a curved surface of a pin. It says figure 2.5. There's figure 2. There is no part 5. It's got all the other parts labeled, but it doesn't have part 5 labeled. So this one's a little tricky here. I truly don't know. We'll keep going. Maybe this will fall into place. I'm gonna look at it from this way and see if it makes any more sense. It doesn't. All right, guys, I finally think I got it. This support right here with this little hook on the top, this is the dovetail top they're speaking of. I think I was on the right track. So this does come through here and protrudes out of the top, just barely. And these pins down here hit the bottom. What was throwing me off was I thought this was supposed to be flush to this side, and so this screw right here was stopping it. I think the screw actually acts as a standoff, so it actually needs to be further this way than towards the hole. So you put it up in there until those pins hit, and now you can see there's a hole that lines up, and we're going to take, stop coming in. We're going to take this handle, which is the smaller of the two that come with this kit, and make sure you put your washer on, and it's going to go through this slot right here. There we go, and we screw it in. We have this inserted through here, sticking out of this hole in the top, with the pins on the bottom, and we've got this handle here with the screw and spacer screwed into this locking plate. So now we can move that locking plate back and forth, and it's kind of stuck there. Okay, so I think we're through with this, and the next thing to do, I think honestly, is to add the fence bracket. So let's get it on there. Okay, so the first thing it actually wants us to do is attach this fence to the fence bracket. So let's flip this around and get it on there. So once again, we have these screws already in the back of this fence. So we will need to back those screws out and use them to attach it to the bracket here. Make sure you don't forget the washers. They're kind of sitting down here on the bottom. So don't forget to get the washers out when you get the screws. So the easiest way I think actually to mount the bracket to the fence is to lay the fence down flat and then lift the bracket up and align the holes like so, and then screw it on. All right, once you get all the screws in, just go through and give it one good final torque just to make sure they're all in there nice and tight. You don't want your fence moving once you get it set where you want it to go, you know? There we go. Fence is now secured to the bracket, and on to the next step. One word of caution is when you're working with this and it's kind of moving back and forth on you here, I would just say be very cautious about where your fingers are with this fence, because like I've said many times, the parts of this tool are very heavy, so just make sure you don't get your fingers trapped under the fence when you're lifting it up and down. You might pinch yourself. Alright guys, so the next part is we're going to attach the fence and the bracket onto our support that we have here. And if you notice, we have a bar that runs along this way and it's kind of angled this way. They're calling it a dovetail. I guess technically it is. And the top of this support, this lock right here, is also a dovetail. So what we need to do is we need to align those dovetails to match with these dovetails and form a nice tight connection. Probably gonna have to finagle this a bit to get these to lock into the place where it's supposed to be, but hopefully it won't be too bad. So let's get this fence on there, and once again, especially trying to put this on here and get it lined up, watch your fingers. All right guys, I'll try to keep my hands out of the way. I know this is kind of a tight shot here, but I really wanted you to be able to see what this was like going on here. And lower this bracket on. So looking from the back here, I can see I've caught the edge on this side, and on the other side I haven't quite, it's not quite tight. So, but I think if I start tightening it, it will pull into that. So that may be pretty simple. Let's see. All right, yeah, that wasn't bad. So basically you align this side with this dovetail, and this dovetail is a little loose, so you can just push this flat and tighten this handle, and that pulls that dovetail into this hook here. And the tighter you tighten this, the tighter it pulls on this, so it keeps it sturdy. If you notice, it's not moving. That's the table that's moving. So that's definitely not moving at all. Let's see, if I loosen it just a little bit, then yeah, I can slide it back and forth right here. Let's see, and then tighten it back up. Yep, nice and tight. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. One thing you do need to make sure of is make sure you've got the right side of your fence facing upward. So the side that comes to kind of a point, you want to be towards the bottom, and the flat side you want to be facing towards the top. All right guys, so this is secured like we just said. I was able to lift the fence. The way I did that was by disengaging this little push right here. It's making a liar out of me. There we go. This little push right here, and that allows you to move this little piston thing in and out. So once I did that, I was able to move the fence up and down freely. The issue that I'm running into now is it wants me to insert this handle with this washer. This handle is actually supposed to lock down the fence once you get it where you want it so it doesn't move. The only issue I'm running into here, and it's a big issue, is I can't screw, it wants me to screw this through over here. I can't do that because it is hitting the fence. No matter how I position it, I can't screw this in. This fence is in the way. So what I think I'm going to have to do is I think I'm going to have to remove the fence after I just tighten these down so it wouldn't move. That's going to suck. I think I'm going to have to remove this fence from the bracket and then screw this through and then put the fence back on the bracket. That is not what it says in the instructions. And it says tighten it into the threads of the hole in the right link. Yeah, I just don't see a way that I'm going to be able to do that without removing the fence from the bracket. So I don't think this handle doesn't lift open or anything. One thing I did notice is there's a little pin right here with, they do give you a small Allen wrench to access this. It looks like there's a spring underneath of this pin, so maybe it's under some kind of force. I don't really know what this pin does. It doesn't really say, so I really don't want to take it apart and it be something that I'm not able to get back together whenever this is something I already have a workaround for. So if you are buying this router and you're following the steps and you're looking up a tutorial on it, or you plan to buy this router, hopefully you see this part of the video and the review before you get here, so you don't have to take it back off. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this fence off, put this bolt in, and put the fence back on, and then I'll see you guys back here in just a second. All right guys, so we're back to where we were. We have our mounting bracket here, we have our fence back installed, and you can see we have our bolt in here. After I went through all the trouble of taking all this off and putting this bolt in and screwing it in and putting it back on and getting it back on the table, I finally was like, okay, I can't even move this because I don't have any room. And so finally I decided to remove this screw that I was talking about earlier, and I said I'm afraid to because there's a spring, and I didn't know if it was under pressure, or if it would screw anything up or what would come out, but I ended up just saying screw it, no pun intended. I'm gonna take the screw out and this handle comes off. So this is perfect because it allows me to reposition this handle kind of wherever I need it. So now I can actually move it how I need it. But one thing I realized is if I just would have taken this off from the beginning, you can actually screw the bolt on like this. So I could have just taken the handle head off and then place the bolt through this hole and then began threading it through this other hole. And you can get it all the way in just with your hand like that. And then you take this and lock it in a good position where you can tighten it / untighten it, you know, whatever you need. There you go, like that. And now I can crank it up, I can crank it down, I can do whatever I need from this position right here. It's pretty good. All right, so after all of that, we are now back to where I was before. I have the fence mounted on the bracket. I have the bracket on the jointer. I've gotten this locked down so it won't move back and forth or slide. And this is actually currently locked down, so this isn't moving. What you want to do is just make sure that this is slid far enough forward on your jointer so that it kind of touches just barely your blade protector right here. You don't want to have it, you know, kind of like this where you can still see some of the blades. You want it to come all the way, at least parallel here. And you can see it just touches the fence. Okay, so the thing that we want to make sure we do is we want to make sure that this this little piston head thing here, we want to make sure that it's pressed all the way against the fence, right? You hear that? We want to make sure that it's touching the fence. So it looks kind of straight to me. I mean, I'm sure it's really not, but that piston's there. We need to make sure that we get that tab down in that little groove. And the way to do that is to back this piston out a little bit until we can push this forward until this locks. Because if this doesn't lock, then you're really not keeping it where you think you're keeping it. So what we need to do is we need to loosen this handle, and we need to loosen this nut right here. Loosen that out. And what we want to do is we want to take a straight edge screwdriver and to the back of this little bolt right here. And we want to just start backing this out, or you know, feed it in, just depending on where you need it, what you need to do to get it to lock into that slot. Oh, did you hear it? That slot. Oh, did you hear it? So that mine's locked into the slot now, and I can start going forward. So yeah, okay, my piston's touching the back of the fence now. It looks like it's kind of 90 degrees. The next thing that we need to do is we need to actually take a square and place it against the table in the fence and fine tune it until we get to that 90 degree mark. And then after we do that, I'm going to check and make sure that this is level. So First, let's get this 90 degrees. Okay, first things first, I'm definitely not one of those super experienced woodworkers that have a set of $150, $200 woodpecker 90 degree angles. So this is what I've got. I've got a Swanson speed square here. I've also got another Swanson square, and I think that'll be good enough for what I need. So apparently my just winging it is not that great, because it's definitely way off. I'm tilted back way too far up here at the top. All right guys, I actually ended up going for my Swanson combination square. It gave a little bit more base to reference off the table, and I could see the gaps much more clearly. It did take me a few iterations to get it exactly where I wanted it, probably like 10 or 15 minutes, just being meticulous. And as you can hopefully see, I'm not sure if it'll show through on the camera too well, but as you can hopefully see, there's actually, I don't really see any gaps. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. It's as close as I think I'm gonna get it. I think the next thing to do is probably check and make sure that the bed is level, which is gonna be a little difficult to do because my garage kind of slants down this way. So I expect it to have maybe a little bit of a bubble, but I can take that into consideration. I'm gonna put the bubble just a little bit on the infeed side, and it does appear that it's saying this end's a little low, which I expected because, like I said, my garage does slant down just a little. And the bubble is in the center of the marks. It's just a little more towards that way, which, like I said, I kind of expect. If I take this and try to reference across, granted, it's a thin line, so I don't have a good reference, but it goes, there's maybe the smallest nip right there, but I really don't think that's bad, seeing as how I'm going to be lowering this anyway. I can barely feel the bump right there. So yeah, I mean, I could turn this upside down or get underneath of it and kind of try to tweak this and raise this maybe just a smidge, but honestly, that's got to be less than like 1/128th or something. That's just like a ridge, basically. Now the next step I would think would be to hook up the hose, and let's try to maybe run something across it and see what we get. So one issue that everybody that I've seen so far has complained about is that this is supposed to be 2 3/8 inches, so it should fit a 2.5 inch normal shop vac hose. And that is clearly not the case. It's 2.5 inches, it does not fit. So you're gonna have to find some way to adapt this to fit your 2.5 inch hose. What I have done is actually picked up a coupling. Let me show you. So what I've done is I picked up this coupling, got it from the PVC section at my local Big Orange box store. And this will allow me to adapt this onto this. So with this coupling, I just need to tighten it, and it should give a good confirmed seal. So I do have to give credit to this idea to a guy that I saw do a review of this on Home Depot's website, actually. He's the one who suggested using this coupling, and I think it's going to work pretty well. Alright guys, I got my eye protection on, I've got my ear protection ready, and my clothing. I don't have any kind of long sleeves or anything that can get caught up in the cutter heads. Actually, let me take this off. So yeah, I think we're ready. I'm going to be testing it on this piece of cherry. So it's a pretty nice piece of cherry. It's a few years old, it's been dried out. I actually got this from my father. Yeah, it's in pretty rough shape for sure. It's just been milled. It's not flat on any side right now. So let's give this a try. I'm gonna try to joint it, and I'm gonna start with the edge and see where we are there. Alright guys, so I got one edge jointed and one face jointed, and so theoretically these should be 90 degrees to each other. They feel amazing. They feel really smooth. I mean, look at the difference between that and that. I mean, that's daylight to dark difference. I had to do a lot of passes because I had the table all the way up. I was taking off the smallest amount I possibly could. So it took several passes, but I mean, I could take a little more off, but I'm pretty happy with the result, just the way it feels. So let's see if it's actually square. So I got my trusty little combination square here. Oh yeah, man, that looks good. I am ecstatic about that. I mean, I really couldn't ask for any better at a right angle, honestly. Especially going from nothing to this, like, this is amazing. I'm really happy. As I was running it across, I was afraid that I would feel a little lip that I was kind of feeling there. Didn't feel anything. Went smooth. It was as smooth as butter. This little pad that it comes with, honestly, pretty good traction. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this all around. I mean, like I said, it's my first jointer that I've ever had, but I'm excited, and I think if you guys are interested in this, definitely give it a try. For the price point, I haven't seen anything that beats it. It's heavy as all get out. I mean, I don't even have it anchored to anything. It's just so heavy. When I was pushing it across, it didn't even budge. So yeah, that's the WEN 6560T jointer. That's the cast iron base version of the WEN jointer. One critique I would actually give this jointer is that it doesn't have a depth gauge on it, so you can't see the depth of the cut that you're making just on the fly. So that would be great. I mean, you can still kind of eyeball it and even measure it out here, but it would be nice to have. Just to give you guys a close-up of the specs, I know some of you may be interested. Let me put this in front of the camera so you can just kind of see what you're looking at here. Focus, focus, focus. There we go. So once again, it's the 6560T. It's 120 volts, 10 amps. Rotation speed's 10,000 RPM, 20,000 cuts per minute. It's 6 inches cutting width. It goes up to 1/8 of an inch. Let's see, it's got 2 blades, and there's the dimensions of the fence and the table and the port diameter, which this is wrong, absolutely incorrect. So get an adapter. It does tilt, the fence does tilt 45 degrees inward and outward. I probably will not use that function, at least not very often, so I'm not really too worried about it. So guys, that's it. Let me know if you have any other questions and leave them down in the comment section. If you want to see more reviews, stay tuned. I've got the WEN air filtration system that I'm going to be reviewing very soon. I just got that in, and also I have the DeWalt 735X, the 735 planer. It's the 13-inch planer, so the thickness planer. I have that in as well, and I'm going to be putting that together, unboxing it, and giving a review of that. If you guys have any more questions, leave them in the comment section. If you enjoyed this, please like this video. Let me know, give me some feedback, and hopefully you guys will see a lot more from me in this channel very soon. Thanks, guys. See you soon. This one has me confused.